Have you ever stopped to think that the solution to your financial problems might be inside a book that's probably sitting in your home, forgotten and covered in dust? That book is the Bible. In it, we don't just find spiritual teachings, but also practical advice that can transform the way we handle money. If you've ever felt trapped in debt or struggled to save and invest, this video will open your eyes to principles that can change your life. Many people live in a way that goes against what God teaches about the use of money, and because of that, they suffer with worry, debt, and a lack of peace. But the secrets to prospering and living free from this burden were revealed by God a long time ago, and they're in the Bible. Jesus spoke about money in several passages, more than he spoke about heaven and hell. Out of the 38 parables recorded, 16 are directly related to how to manage possessions and finances. On top of that, the Bible contains about 500 verses on prayer and faith, but over 2,300 about money and possessions. That shows just how important this subject is to God and to our spiritual lives. The way we use money reveals a lot about who we really are. The Bible explains that it's not money itself that causes evil, but the excessive love of it. When the heart is filled with greed, selfish desires, and a relentless pursuit of power and pleasure, that's when problems arise. Money doesn't change a person's character, it only exposes what was already hidden inside them. Jesus taught that we cannot serve both God and money. If we choose to follow biblical principles in handling our finances, our spiritual life grows stronger. But if we use money the wrong way, our fellowship with God grows weaker. The first principle the Bible teaches us about money is that everything belongs to God. He is the owner of all things, and He is the one who gives us the ability to prosper. That's why we should never forget that every possession we gain is the result of His permission and grace. Another important point is about tithes and offerings. The Bible promises that those who give with joy will be blessed. Giving opens doors, frees the heart from the prison of selfishness, and even transforms the lives of other people. Hoarding only for ourselves makes us slaves, but sharing draws us closer to God and allows us to store up treasures that never fade away, eternal treasures. The Bible doesn't only talk about blessings. It also gives us clear warnings about how we should handle money so that our financial life goes well. In Romans 13 verse 8 it says, "Let no debt remain outstanding." This means we should avoid debt, because when we go into debt, we lose our freedom. Proverbs 22 verse 7 reinforces this by saying that the borrower becomes servant to the lender. Within the biblical principles about money, 2 points are especially important: good planning and diversifying investments. In Luke 14 verse 28, Jesus tells the story of someone who wants to build a tower but must first calculate if they have enough resources to finish the project. If they start without planning and can't complete it, everyone will mock them. This shows the importance of organizing expenses and setting aside money for future commitments, avoiding unpleasant surprises. Proverbs 21 verse 5 also teaches that steady effort leads to prosperity, while haste and recklessness lead to poverty. Another essential teaching is diversifying investments. Ecclesiastes 11 verse 2 advises, "Invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land." That guidance still applies today. Just as plagues could destroy crops in ancient times or crises can crash stock markets today, investing in different areas protects against total loss. Financial expert Howard Dayton explains that the Bible offers real solutions for today's financial problems. According to him, when we apply God's principles, we learn to spend according to what we earn, get out of debt, and use money wisely. Dayton also teaches that there is no perfect investment and that diversification is the safest path. He suggests practical steps. First, Save enough to cover 1 month of expenses and get protection through insurance. Next, set aside 3 to 6 months of expenses and prepare for major purchases. Then, invest in skills, business, and career, because that brings productivity and provision. Only after this stage should someone think about buying a house. Many do the opposite, buying a house bigger than they can afford, and end up with no resources left to invest in things that actually generate growth. After that stage, one can invest conservatively in long-term goals and finally, explore other investment opportunities. The Bible also reminds us that God owns everything. In Haggai 2 verse 8 he says, "The silver is mine and the gold is mine." And in Psalm 24 verse 1 we read, "The earth is the Lord's and everything in it." Recognizing this draws us closer to God, helps us trust Him more, and puts our finances in order. God's economic principles teach us to save wisely but not hoard selfishly, to spend with moderation, and to use our resources to help others, with discernment. The Bible does not condemn being rich, but it warns against loving money above all else. It also does not say it's wrong to be poor, but it encourages us to seek a simple and joyful life. Translated into more than 2,300 languages, the Bible is the most sold and most read book in history. For many, it's a sacred life manual. For others, just another book on the shelf. What really makes the difference is opening its pages, learning from its teachings, and putting them into practice. Many men and women say they found financial success simply by studying the Bible. In difficult times, it can be hard to believe that better days will come, but God is the one who holds the answers for moments of uncertainty. The secret lies in seeking Him and waiting for His blessing. More and more people are asking where to find help, and there are basically two options: to rely on solutions created by people or to turn to the Bible. The true keys to overcoming debt and achieving stability are in that book that many have at home but leave closed and forgotten. Even wealthy and successful people report that they solve their financial problems by applying the principles of God's Word. What many do is try to erase debt with temporary solutions, not realizing that this only postpones the problem. The Bible, however, points to the real path to prosperity. Interestingly, many millionaires around the world acknowledge that their journey was strongly influenced by the Bible, not only as a spiritual guide but also as a manual for business. More than just a religious or historical book, it contains values that shaped Western ethics and morality and now also serve as a reference for financial decisions. While some wealthy people are remembered for scandals and excess, there is a group of prosperous individuals who live quietly, applying biblical principles in their lives and businesses. The difference is that they understood the Bible holds deep teachings, many of them directed specifically toward finances and the proper way to handle money. Now you understand that the Bible is not just a book of faith, it is also a practical guide to transforming your financial life. It shows us that prosperity is not a matter of luck, but of principles. Money itself is not the problem. What really matters is what we do with it and where we set our hearts. If you put these teachings into practice, you won't just gain financial balance. You will also find peace, freedom, and a closer walk with God. So don't leave the Word closed on the shelf. Open it, study it, and live it. Because whoever sows obedience will reap abundance. And remember, the greatest treasure we can ever gain is not here on earth, but in eternity.